Portsmouth Casino and almost opposite the Anzio beachhead, New Zealanders break through the German lines and get Jerry on the run. As the armored cars in clouds of dust, reminiscent of the western desert, press along Route 5, village after village falls into our hands.
I was very angry a lot of the time at the total futility of what I was in amongst. Total futility. You'd meet somebody in his Air Force guy perhaps and go back to his unit and think, oh, another sortie going over, oh, I hope he comes back. And they say sometimes did come back and sometimes didn't. But that emotional thing was a huge part of our existence of the time.
Did people fall in love very easily?
In and out. Yes, and I had a lot of experiences in that way, and it presented problems because some of the men they fell in love with you immediately for the reason that you were there. That was really what it was about. And if you were pleasant and listened to them, then that was extra special. They really fell for you, and they believed themselves to be in love with you. And some of them took it for granted because that's how they felt, that necessarily you felt that way about them, and you didn't. And that was another tricky little emotional problem to deal with because you wouldn't for all the world make them unhappy. And you had to just explain, well, now, look, we are in very abnormal times and we shouldn't even be thinking about these things. Let's wait till we go home so we know where we're at. And some of them took that nicely and some were furious. Life was too confusing with too many guys, and I rather reluctantly became engaged because of this confusion. I wasn't entirely sure that I liked him more than I liked the others, and I didn't love him the way I loved Jeff, because I never have. But he was a Cameron Highlander, and I met him in Rome when we were on leave. So we had some lovely times, and I did get engaged to him just before the war, 3 weeks before the end of the war, just before he went off to Belgium, and he was killed on my birthday. So I had to sit in the Garrison Theatre at the end of the war through the Thanksgiving service representing New Zealand women up on the stage with the Padre, with the Brigadier, and looking at that big theatre full of soldiers, thanking God the war was over, and I tell you, I didn't hear one word. I had to steel myself not to listen, or I'd have cried and made an idiot of myself. And I had to just gaze out into the audience. I had to look at how the men in the front row were sitting with their feet crossed and count the heads and do anything to fill in time till it was over. Well, immediately I got back. In Gisborne, people had this extraordinary idea that we just had a wonderful time. And I remember one of my people's and parents' neighbours saying to me, oh, well, now you've had all that wonderful experience. I suppose now you'll settle down and get married. And I just wanted to kill her. They had no idea. They really thought that's what we would want to do. They had no idea what that experience had done to us.